Testing 1, 2.
Oh, I better bring mine back. Oh, they kept me into it? I guess. Hey,
Hello. I am. Till we find a new brook.
Are we still looking for a brook?
I think we're on the cusp of a new brook. On the cusp.
My friend, Siren.
Hi, Alan, Teresa.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Well, I know, Teresa.
Nice to meet you.
This long old road here, that's what's different. Not instead of. They're gonna freeze us out, aren't they?
Forget how cold it gets in here.
You're still looking for a brook?
Still are.
She
Yeah.
went to go work with the K-State Extension Center, something like that.
Oh, did she?
She was help out with research.
Good for her. Who's Maddie?
Maddie Campbell is my supervisor. She's in the
Okay.
Office of Community Services,
She supervises all
all the CSRs.
the, yeah. You're a regular with DAB 3?
No, I'm the Community Services representative for 2 and 5. So I
Oh.
work with Councilmember Tuttle and Councilmember Johnston.
Keep you busy. Like.
Yes, yes, two differences. Quite a handful.
No, it's just,
Yeah, we haven't had a meeting for
they canceled last month.
last month.
I thought it was just 2 items. Those things
Did-
at Friends University.
Didn't have enough people for a quorum.
Yeah, that don't work. I had kids.
In fact, I've been to the last 2 meetings and nobody was here. Got worried about it. They were canceled.
Oh, wait. This- heck. Oh, it's- there you go.
People don't take their.
Well, I don't know. They was just, I was shuffled around, came 2 or 3 times,
I see.
whatever. The June meeting, I was sick that day, so I couldn't make it. The July meeting got postponed.
Well, have I missed anything since I've been gone?
Not a whole lot.
Hasn't been anything crazy.
Nothing crazy. I've missed being the grumpy old man.
I have Wally to do that.
Did you take my place, Wally?
Yeah,
Well, I'll take it back.
Could be a shared responsibility.
Yeah, shared responsibility.
haven't heard anything from Dalton. He wanted to have these meetings here in August there with me.
Oh, yeah. I have to cancel mine. Mine was supposed to be next Wednesday. Yeah.
But he's never,
He sent us an email the other day, thanking everyone. Chose. And he's trying to do like a tour and have people host things like at their house or at
Yeah.
places. Would you say? And just like he asked people like,
Yeah.
can you invite like 10 people? Just invite 10 people, get them there when we.
I'm sorry, I'm in a meeting, I can't.
And then he's trying to do one like every single day. This month,
Every day.
something like that. So he just like asked everyone if you can get 10 people.
Well, I just found out yesterday that community night out's 11.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't give me enough time to prepare to host one, so I guess I will.
Last year's replaced the cantilever part.
No, hell no. It's got an outdoor bar.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So that's what we're drinking after?
Yeah. Yeah. Look at this guy. I haven't seen him in a minute.
Yeah. Been hiding from you guys. Sorry, I just walked in my hand, so they're a little danced.
Okay.
How's everybody doing?
Okay.
I saw you wandering around Riverfest one night.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
You were working? Or
Yeah.
did you work it? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure I was all sweaty.
I worked, I'm on the Latino Day Festival, the committee for me.
Yeah.
Dude, I was there from like 5 AM till like midnight.
This is west or south? West, are you? Hey,
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
hey, I'm
Sorry, you walked in my hand, so it's still like.
No, he's lying. That's my by the way.
I've seen some stuff around, so I'll mention it to you.
Probably use those tables are flipped up.
I done the last month. I'm not like run across like 5 or 6 spots that were auto accidents that are not. Was the co-driver.
Yeah, do you have any?
I'll have one like that.
No worries, Bob. Talk to me.
We have one that we can have, we take that to. Clean up, was back, we did the rest of the.
I know all the issues.
Used to be.
So I have
Tables back here, we have programs.
Now you're actually different. Looks better.
Yeah, we usually have all tables on the wall, on the sides, and 2 chairs that, since last week sometime, one of the groups on the wall gets the wall, so we just kind of look at that.
All this cleaner, so.
Okay, good to hear.
Wow. Safe contact. Down the 5. Damn. Yeah,
I should give you the news for saving right here.
okay. Now, this, do I put my stuff in there?
No, so it's. Safety contacts. And then hit down.
It is.
Shows basically more information here. Just anytime, shoot me an email and I'll get it released.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen some pretty nasty ones. One that really in the last month that comes to my attention is on Wall Street, right in front of Quick Trip. In that turn lane,
Got maple musk.
I bet you could have picked up 2 5-gallon buckets of glass, plastic, this, that, what have you. And I know when they're done investigating the rest, they got, their arms or whatever, but it is the tow driver's responsibility if he wants to continue to stay on that list, because that is a privilege. Then you need to make sure that stuff's cleaned up. So people aren't driving through it. Causing more accidents.
Yeah, get flats in their time.
Sure.
See who else shows up tonight.
Still need 2 more.
Yeah. I don't get to play June's here. I don't think. She didn't tell me she wasn't even.
She was confused. I saw the email. She was confused whether it was tonight or the 10th.
No, I didn't see her respond.
I just saw the email. I saw her email. How's that? Asked.
Have anyone?
Big meeting on mine. Except the Jaeger. Oh, you're in the
I was thinking, ended June, and I can do it. I said I was.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a sister city.
Yeah, I like I couldn't do it, that's it.
You should all be here ago and they love it when, I think it was a city hall. They're like, true. Oh, yeah, I'm going down in December. And we have a Wichita statue keeper and then there's a Wichita.
Yeah, no, I just haven't seen it since.
That's cool. Oh, just random people.
Yeah, I'll be at the market or something.
I'm gonna share that with the sister city. We have a group for, we have Leon's, Cancun, Talahana, Mexico.
Chihuahua now?
And then Chihuahua, we just had Chihuahua, and then Kaifeng, China. Orleans, we just, Orleans, and Talahana, very much last week. So it's fun. I'm glad you got the experience, yeah. I'm jealous of the Cancun right now.
I'm just covering for somebody. Sitting in a bank for a week.
Oh, man, there's no months.
Yeah, I was in Sheboygan like 3 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I really did that. What day was yours?
that wealth. Yep, 12 except water. I know. Actually,
Stephanie says she's doing it.
All right, time 6 o'clock. I'd like to go ahead and call our July District Advisory Board meeting to order. If you're willing and able, please rise for the pledge of allegiance. Flag is over here in the left. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you all. All right. Hope you guys have had a chance to review the agenda for tonight's meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the August agenda?
I was here in August, so I don't know.
Today is August.
Today's, I forgot. Make motion to approve.
All right, second. Perfect. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hope you guys had a chance to review the June minutes since we did not meet in July. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from June?
I will make a motion to approve the June minutes.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, let's move on to staff reports. We have PD.
You guys are out there?
Wait.
Hello, everyone. I'm Officer Johnson. Replacement.
Just some updates. Let's inspect the chance Thursday. And our stats for that event. We had 126 people. 105 were seen by the DMV. 11 driver's license were issued. And 48 points were The last weekend, taking some hotel complaints, some of the inspections of these hotels. Depending on the complaint, we correspond with the department within the city that oversees some of those complaints. And right now, as you guys know, the night out's coming up, so we're starting to see a lot of people that's all I'm trying. Mr. Johnson has some other stats to update you guys on.
So just to go some academy stuff, we recently had a group graduate the academy, so that's always good for us to hear and the community. There's currently a class that's in week 3 of training, 19 total recruits, 4 of which are females. On the south, we have a couple of special events also coming up. One of them is the Wichita Heat Wave. That's going to be on August 15th at the Wave, which is 650 East 2nd. Not quite District 4, but it's within the Patrol South Bureau. So this will benefit the Wichita Police Firefighter Foundation. So food truck competitions, police versus fire. For the concert that evening, those kinds of things. So. O'clock on the 15th, and then 5:30 to midnight is the evening. So on this Saturday, actually, the 8th, the South YMCA, so that'll be from 10 to about 2 o'clock. So that's 3405 South Break. Yeah, to reiterate, National Night Out on the 11th. 5 to 8 p.m. for 5 p.m. So,
you guys might see some new faces. See some new faces coming in. We're going to get into it. So,
Can you remind me how long the academy takes? So they're in week 3.
it's about 26 weeks. Changed everything.
So there are some subjects that the current class should be around 26 weeks.
Like the newest class, does that put you guys like, are you at a good level? Is there still a shortage or?
I think with retirements and stuff, there's often still a shortage. I'm not sure the exact where it puts us, how far behind or ahead. I think we're probably still down.
I mean, those hotels that you're mentioning, is it still those ones off Kellogg there's issues with?
Most of the complaints are received.
I feel like I haven't seen anybody across Kellogg in a while or heard somebody getting like somebody running. So I think that's positive.
Yeah.
Trying in the right direction.
I saw somebody the other night running across
Oh, never mind. I'll back that. Never mind.
from Walmart to the old Canterbury Inn or something.
We are getting protection on the fires and helping us out tremendously.
One of those hotels turn into like an extended stay or apartment, something when they've got the fencing around it.
If you're mentioning the old economy, the U.S. separate building, but that is completely different. Separate apartments are totally their own entity.
Board. Thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
And as for the board, go around, make some quick introductions, and get the new faces for a new face. So we'll start over here, just name and then area you live in. Alex Garcia, you're on 31st Seneca, or Meridian.
Alan Oliver, Maple, or area Foleyville, Pawnee, and 119th Street.
Jordan Dwarfas, Pawnee, 119th Street.
Harry Willis, 31st and Meridian.
Josh Shorter, Maple, and 151st.
Susan Mayor Decker, I'm over by 47th and Meridian.
Gentry Thiessen. I live just south of Pawnee Prairie Park and just west of the airport.
I'll make one quick note. So Jordy, this is his first meeting as an actual member of the District Advisory Board. The council voted to add a youth member to every advisory board that's a voting member. And so Councilmember Shepherd and I tried to lead that. I was on the District 5 Advisory Board when I was Doherty's age, and I never got to vote. And so this will be and Alex was on the District 4 Advisory Board as well. So this will be the first meeting that he gets to vote. I think it was a good step forward. Instead of just having you come and listen the entire time, you can also engage. So welcome. And then Susan Meyer Decker it's her first meeting. So Susan, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Well, I grew up here, lived here most of my life. I did move away for a little bit, but married, have a couple dogs, ride motorcycles. I am an auditor by trade. That's what I do during the day. So if I ask a lot of questions, it's because I'm an auditor. I've actually attended these before as a spectator, so happy to be on board now. Thank you.
Yeah, Susan applied a couple years ago and we had a whole list of people. And so I'm glad that it started opening up and we had new opportunities for new faces. So thanks for being here and thanks for engaging. Back to you, Alex.
Thank you. All right, move on to fire.
Hello, I'm Ken Cox. Of this area and also the entire west side. I was hoping for more information for you guys about fireworks information last July. They're still putting that information. Just kind of whereas they were told of 5 that were fireworks. So for the city that next week, all of our crews will be out every
Any idea what happened on South Leonine last night?
I do not came on this morning, so I fire or
Yeah, it was a fire, but I don't know if it looked like it was a big fire. Then as the fire trucks got there, it kind of went away. So
Where on top of my
that's 34th block.
Oh, okay.
I'd say it's a good thing that the first away when the fire goes. Hopefully, my next staff meeting, they will have all the fireworks.
Yeah, it was a big year. Considering, this is our second year, right, with aerials being allowed to the city. I feel like the next day, normal, the day afterwards, wasn't noisy.
As far as the fire department, I'm taking calls, again, the 5-star fireworks.
City itself.
At least the structure fire day in the city, so. We do fires.
Board.
Are there any updates on the news station being built around Mason Pond?
I can give an update. Yeah.
Any questions from public? I see that there are none. Sorry. Good night. All right, library.
What's the capacity of the branch manager?
Just a few statistics off, 5,300 which was 3 times since January 23 that we've had over 5,000 people in the library. Part of it, I was just the job we have with Workforce Alliance. So our circulation was 7,3. Again, was one of our few times that we've hit 7,000 in the last year. Local author day returned to the second stage from 1 to 3 at the Advanced Learning Library. How many talented local authors to change inspiration, export books and stories that children's genres, purchase fine copies of others. The literacy fair, which the public libraries created with a bunch of journals bilingual literacy news there on Saturday, August 8th, 11 to 1. As a soft launch of the journalism collaboratives focused reporting on literacy levels in Wichita this year, attendees can connect with trustful local media outlets and organizations like literacy pages, company organizations, reading store for children, and pathways to higher education and workforce development. State bilingual children's books and back to schools and colleges. The library will be closed on Monday, August 10th. As their technology systems will be down for some upgrades. You can still access the library 20% however. Access may pause and negotiate greater understanding depending on your digital experience. And don't forget that middle school and high school students have access to free library student e-card through USD 259. This back to school season with the free student e-card. Your team can access e-books and e-audio books through Libby. Public Wi-Fi and computers on library locations, movies and series, print streaming, can't be. New language learning, making languages. The numerous databases of articles and book chapters and Christmas assignments. Just for the things, August is always a slow month for us when we are dealing with this reading program. But we still have our machine and parts for picking up that space. If you're interested in learning how to do any of that, they're always happy to show you how to do that. And then on Thursday, we'll be hosting a technology program on Canva, which is a free online graphic design tool. The tech trainers for the advanced learning library will be doing the presenting. So that's all I have.
Any questions from the board? Public?
Seeing that they're not, thanks.
Call agenda. We have no scheduled items. Going on the off agenda items. If there's anyone present who did not request to speak on the public agenda prior to the meeting, please speak at this time.
I'm still talking about 135th Street between Kellogg and Pawnee. There's been, I don't know who's responsible, but they put a new Quick Trip in, which we approved the things. Then somebody come with the idea of putting a raised up thing in a turn lane, which is a traffic hazard. It's been hit, the signs have been knocked down. I go through that intersection anywhere from 4 to 6 times a day. There's always somebody stopping, going southbound to make a U-turn, to come back northbound, to get into the Quick Trip because of this island they put in a turn lane. And the same thing happens going to the south. There's people who come out of the Quick Trip, go north, do a U-turn, go back south. That thing they put in the turn lane is just downright ridiculous. And I reported it to the county. They hadn't heard anything, but at the same time, I reported the curbs being in 2 different, on the west side and the east side, being raised up over a foot, which was a hazard. And I went by it 2 hours later and they already had cones on them, but they've been that way for over a year and nobody's done anything about it. So I don't know whether it's the city's responsibility or the county's responsibility. I called the county, they're the ones that took the action, but that island that they put in there is going to cause more accidents there, and it's kind of ridiculous having an island when you turn in a driveway, when you go down the street, and there's turn lanes at all the other streets.
I will check whose responsibility it is and follow back up with you.
Okay.
And so if it is the county's responsibility, I'll talk to Chad.
It's not
That would be
just,
Stephanie,
no,
yeah.
it's Stephanie.
Yeah, that's Stephanie's. I'll talk to Stephanie.
Yeah, but the other thing is the tanker trucks. I watched 2 of them the other day. They have to go in on the access road Kellogg. They turn in. There's not room enough to turn the tanker truck around in that parking lot, so they came out onto 135th. Well, they can't make that turn out of the driveway without driving up over that island there, which creates another hazard. You know, that turn lane's been there for over 10 years. been working fine. Whoever came up with the idea to block it is downright ridiculous.
I will check about that.
Moving on to new business, we have the budget overview from Mr.
Hey, okay, I'll limit myself to 20 minutes. So I think we have 2 cases after this as well. I know that I'm hosting, is this, first time it's ever been on since we've been here. So I'm hosting 30 conversations over 30 days just to get good feedback from the community. Obviously, the city council did not do good at community engagement sales tax, given what I'm trying to look at is how what's the direction of the community. 30 conversations. I know I've had one at Josh's house. I'm going to Gentry's in a couple weeks as well. So those conversations, they've been really successful. 5 so far, and collectively I've had about 45 normally wouldn't come to these meetings or engage, and so it's been a really good opportunity to talk to them. Some things are different, but there's been a lot of similarities in those conversations. Interested, I probably should have done 30 conversations, but it's been a lot of fun as well. So I'll take a little direction. It's in the city manager's budget, and also what recommendations in August of this year, August 25th is when. So first off, this is council budget. One economy / budget. In short, for 1 year, that's 2027, and it's 2.8 and which is large. 67% budget goes towards public safety. That's the large chunk of it, and that chunk is because and a majority of that is public safety. For that, it has the ability to and so I'll answer specific the budget. My view going into this is private sector growth, inflation plus new growth in the community. The manager's budget 7%. And so when I'm reviewing this, how can I grow government sector? Government still has sector is. There's also a usually added cost. But we shouldn't be growing budget. Trying to look at efficiencies. Is something that, and there are maybe a couple aspects of the budget. Look at that in the future. This does hold the same. That was the first years the city of Wichita holds to that level. Full capture, and again, that includes new growth. So that's the budget question. I want to talk about specific things, but framing that the budget is a question. And so really the first question to you is what are the things that we where are areas that you think the city does well? The city has the and then also maybe just but what's service
opinions on it, but people complain about all the time construction, but I mean, it's all for good reasons. I think there's always something being beautified. Again, you may get mixed opinions on what part of town you're on, but over here on the south side, I think obviously improvements that the city's doing well and just continuing to invest in infrastructure like that.
We actually have especially a lot of large, closer to Josh. Just capital projects. Douglas. And on, oh gosh, it would be on Maze from Money to. Also renovations. So there are a lot of large scale capital investments. Okay, what else?
How much of this is being paid for by the developments that are going in? Like along Maze and 119 south of Pawnee?
A lot of the large, these would be paid for. So that would be generally, property tax dollars. Most of it actually comes from sales tax. And our which is the only city in the state that gets it. So the majority is rising around.
I think what the city does really well is they've got wonderful staff, and I think that's reflected in the budget increasing and how much we have to pay them. But when you look at the jobs the city has and the people filling them, when they could leave and enter the private workforce with their skills and abilities, it's great that we can keep them. And I think it's just always striking the balance of how can we pay them so we can retain that talent when there's always a risk that they can go and make more money elsewhere.
Speaking of wonderful staff, Teresa. Tracy is the community service. This month, we have a new CSR license. We finally have exposition. A lot of okay, what else? Positive.
I wouldn't be able to go home tonight if I did not say the libraries are great. That's true. And the executive director of the library is brilliant and creative in the restraints and limits that they have and the services they offer.
City as a whole, what is this?
I think in many cases, the city does a really nice job with their public-private partnerships. And when I think about like the city's partnership with the Parks Foundation and what that has meant to our community, I think the library's partnership with the Library Foundation and other examples of public-private partnerships. But I think we do a really good job of tapping our community members to volunteer and be engaged because we obviously have groups of people here that care a lot and are willing to devote their time and talent.
Our city council is great. One.
Yeah. No, I'll talk about the rest of them. No, I mean,
For a raise.
on my volunteer wage. No, I mean, I'm critically online and I always see issues with other cities about our size. Somebody's always in something or something messy is going on, but our city council is always open, willing to talk, and I'm not here to work. So I think we have a great city council.
I will speak to all my that to them. Every single person on the council. Every single person on the council. If I disagree with one issues, I disagree with them on. Okay, easier question. Sometimes, what are challenges in the city? The institution of the city. What are some weaknesses that the city as an institution?
I think one of the things is we need to adapt standards like Goddard and Derby and Mays is considered for new developments. You know, we've got a development of 119th, or I mean, 135th and Central. That is an out-of-towner came in there, and they're doing all these requirements that we're laying down, but our local developers won't spend the money. They want to put it in their pocket. They won't provide playgrounds or anything in these developments. But the people come in from out of town, they meet all of these requirements that God had laid down. The different colored houses, they have a clubhouse, they have play areas, walks, all the things that are listed in these other communities. And I think Wichita should come up with the same kind of requirements on new developments.
That has been a conversation every single ones that I've had, which I was kind of surprised by. Everybody in the district is probably the number one thing. I'll probably be tapping Gentry to be involved in this discussion. And I know that I'm meeting with Tyler York, who's with the Steiner Builders Association this week, to talk about that. There's, you know, the challenge I have, I want to increase the costs and make things less affordable for individuals, but we also want to make sure that we're having something that is reflective of our community. I think it was at Josh's house, somebody said a really good line, maybe here, but if somebody said that when you're driving through the neighborhoods, you can see when you have 1950s houses or 1970s houses. And do we want to be known as this is the model for the 2020s? And that kind of stood out to me solely because minutes later I drove by a complex intersection right now, but there was not a front door. It was solely a garage.
Yeah.
It was air conditioning units in the front of the house and another garage. And they were the exact same structure, 20 deep. And I just thought of when we're trying to build community, how are we building community when there's not a front door? It solely is people drive another garage, shut the garage, and go in. There was not even an opportunity for people to build community. And so I want to involve making sure that we don't increase the cost necessarily, but how can we make sure that we're still building structures that we're proud of and not having multiple plain views and Oaklaws that we're supposed to demolish at some point.
Even if we do increase the cost, these builders pocket a hell of a bunch of money there. And, you know, they just sold it away. They take our homeowners' dues. I've been in Turkey Creek for 20 years. I pay $240 a year. There's over $420,000 in funds, but we can't have a playground. The neighbors put signs in the street, please drive slowly, children playing. Children playing is not a place for children to play in the streets. And this developer won't, we've asked, he won't do a thing. We have nothing to say about it. We've never had an annual meeting where we vote. I mean, that's all against the Kansas Bill of Rights for Homeowners Associations.
I know it's something the council's going to look at. JB and I mentioned it from the bench, just how can we have this conversation? And we actually had a really good example of, I think it was a contentious issue between landlords and tenants. We formed a committee made up of landlords and tenants, and they brought to us a better proposal than I think we were looking at on either end of it. So I think we're going to try to look at the same thing. How can we bring maybe some very diverse viewpoints in and then have, instead of just passing regulations just from the city council, how can we try to have those brought to us from people, maybe other opposing sides of it? So next,
Stephanie has a comment.
Stephanie?
Yes,
Sorry,
I'm
Stephanie.
sorry. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to make a comment on that. I own a trailer in a trailer park, bought it in the recession because I knew we'd get messed up again, and I was right. But for some reason in this park, and I spoke to this, well, I've spoken about this before, but every month they turn off the water, okay? And I spoke to my previous councilman, and he assured me it's not the city turning it off, it's the park. And it's the same thing as what the last gentleman was talking about. You've got people living in these trailer parks that are living under completely different rules than what you would even have with that. We own our home, but I lose water 2-3 times a month. and I don't find out about it until I get a boil notice afterwards. And they tell me it's not us, it's the city. Well, my last councilman told me, and I believe him, that it's not the city, it's them. I don't know if our water is safe. And in these trailer parks, you have old people and you have families. We have to find, we can't let these like groups run these neighborhoods like their own little towns. It can't happen. I mean, it's wrong, you know? I agree. That's all I've got to say.
I will look into that, Stephanie, and I'll get back on you, back to you as well. It may be the same answer that Jeff gave, but there should be something else we can do. So I will look at that.
Yeah, I just want to make clear, Jeff did try to fix this for us, but nothing happened. I think it's them. I don't think it's the city.
Thank you.
So kind of in the same
Thank you.
vein, like, how does the city council feel about the fact that so many of these neighborhoods are popping up now and they're all twin homes? Kind of to your point of where's the community? They're all
Yeah.
cookie cutter, they're all black and white. And
Yep.
we, as neighborhoods, like my neighborhood specifically, we didn't have a say. Originally, we were told by the builder that they would be all single family homes. And then they changed their mind, didn't even talk to the HOA board, just did what they felt like they were gonna do. They even went so far as, we have like 16 twin homes that are all on the same sprinkler system, but they're all owned by different people. It's
Yes.
crazy, the stuff that's
Yes.
going on in my neighborhood, and the builders they just did whatever they wanted. They didn't consult anybody, they didn't ask the HOA. They threw up all these twin homes. We've had nonstop construction in our neighborhood for 2-3 years now. We have some of the twin homes are not even finished. There's garbage, and they're just doing whatever they want. And we have an HOA board, we meet, we talk about these things, but we can't, we have no power to do anything against the builder.
That's
They just do
exactly
whatever
it.
they want. Yeah, it's 100%, they just do whatever they want.
Well, I know that it's been brought up at every single one of these meetings I've had, and so it's definitely an increasing issue. And so JB and I are trying to figure out a way to address it. I'll have updates in the months. So, okay, what other weaknesses?
I have a couple of things here.
Yep.
I'm not sure if there's like how they do snow removal, how they prioritize things like that. And also improvements. I know some improvements, they get like street repairs get done really quick and others take forever. And I don't know if that's based on neighborhood or what, but it almost appears that way. Could be my imagination, but it certainly looks sufficient. Another thing I have is we're not very good at finding locations for schools within the city. We close the schools within the city, but we start building them outside. And then when you're talking about playgrounds, the schools used to have playgrounds where the kids could come and play. And the ones that I see now, they're fenced off and no one can get in, even the one in my backyard. The kids can't play in that playground, so they're gonna be, why aren't those gates for the kids to actually play in those areas? Another thing is the election office out there with nobody lives. I used to be able to walk from my job to go early vote. Is there a reason why they put that way out there? Is there even a bus that goes out there?
The county made that decision. And so actually, this is just a fun exercise. Where do we think the halfway point of Sedgwick County is?
Halfway point.
Halfway point between east and west.
Oh, I thought it was Kellogg West, like Kellogg and Maine, not like in the airport.
That's what I'm saying.
It's just, which is
Between Taylor and Ridge Road. Election office is now out probably a mile away from Butler County line. It's incredibly frustrating. I will give credit, I don't know what commissioners, but I was complaining about this last night to Jim Howell, and Jim Howell took me against it, so I'll give it against it. That is a challenge, though. The downtown library was open for voting, but it is at a warehouse in a business park.
Oh, so we can't like go down to the courthouse and vote anymore?
The courthouse, they're out in the courthouse now.
I don't should feel any better. My voting place has moved like 3 times in the last year.
Did they tell you?
I don't know that every move. I actually had to look up so I could vote yesterday. My husband looked it up because I'm pretty sure we got notified, but mine's moved like 3 times in the last year.
I got
So downtown library gets one now, but I also for sure for that. I also we're talking to some of the board members about how do we partner we've had a lot of conversations with the county regarding parks and recreation, but we haven't moved to the school district really to that conversation. And the schools are located in communities, in neighborhoods. And so how can we maybe partner with the school district for playground access to make sure that students can use it outside of school hours as well, and make those, trying to work with the best work for Amy for on how can we do a community school model that other communities have done, especially Cincinnati. And I think I talked about that here one time, but there is an opportunity to think we can partner better with the school district to make sure we're investing in neighborhood playgrounds as well, which historically the rest of us. And also anybody in the crowd jump in too. This isn't just for district advisory too. So if you have any thoughts.
I think a major challenge or weakness in Wichita, but it is certainly not a unique issue for Wichita as a city or for the city as an institution or the county, is making meaningful impact and decrease on property taxes. And that is like, you know, you take it one bite at a time, but it seems like we can't even get a single bite in. And we try things like the sales tax, but we can't get a lot of traction on that. We talk about how much we want and need consolidated government, but we can't make a lot of progress on that. So major challenges that we've identified two pieces that could make a meaningful difference, and that is increasing revenues through a different source or figuring out how to make government smaller or consolidated to decrease costs. And we just can't get traction on either of those.
I agree with both those things you're saying. So let's say we look at the mill levy, and just for comparison, let's say we reduce the mill by, or reduce the total mill levy by 1 mil. That comes out to a household of 200,000. Let's say your house is worth 200,000. It's under $23. That's not meaningful property tax relief. I still think that's taxpayer money and it's their money, but that's not meaningful in terms of property tax. We have to figure out a way. The only way you can do that is by looking at other revenue streams. One thing that I found fascinating in this budget, but I'm trying to look at the hard number, is since 1999, we've seen a 98% decrease in franchise fees as part of our budget, which used to be a much larger share. Well, now because of the way that people consume information, we just don't have franchise fees as high. And so that's taken a huge cut to the budget that we've never supplemented. And that was one revenue stream. And so in thinking of that, people want services, want the police to show up to your house, want the fire to show up, want the road to drive on. As a cost, how do you do it meaningfully? So I agree. And yeah, consolidation is incredibly frustrating because I feel that we have these meetings and we start to get there. And then I think we're just having to take bold action and also understand that there might be some complications with it too, but we'll like take the risk of consolidation because it is not a risk, but it's a huge move forward. And I think sometimes political courage just lacks. So we have to try to lean on it. I agree.
How does our budget compare to other cities of similar size?
Pretty comparable. Most cities, so every other city in the state of Kansas though, is less reliant on property taxes. So as a comparison of any municipality, the city of Wichita, let's see if I can find this. In terms of the tax burden, and this does not negate the tax burden that people face in Wichita as well, but it just shows that it's a problem that the entire state of Kansas is facing. So Wichita's mill levy is 32, I believe. For example, the city of Newton is 72.3 mills. The only ones less than Wichita are Lenexa, Leavenworth, Shawnee, Olathe, Prairie Village, Overland Park, and they all had a sales tax to be able to supplement some of it as well. Compared to the rest of the state, there was this really good graph that I thought was just interesting. I think it's on this page. And this budget in brief is really good if you don't want to read all the whole 900-page document. So the average combined city mill levy in the state of Kansas is 55.9. The Wichita's mill levy is 32.3 right now. And so most Kansas communities are worse than in terms of that. Johnson County is a little bit different. They have much higher home values. And so they can have a lower mill levy as an appraisal part. In terms of cities our size across the country, we're pretty common. So there's more, a little smaller.
How does the county mill levy compare to Sedgwick County compared to?
I don't know their exact mill levy. When you look at your property tax bill, you live in the city of Wichita, it's a little bit different if you're in Goddard and Hayesville. Wichita is 28% of your total property tax. The county is 21% of your property tax, and the remainder is the school district. And that fluctuates a little bit in Goddard.
Sorry, Stephanie has another.
So the mill levy be around 24 for the county? 75%?
What's that from? Stephanie?
Yes, I just wanted basically to be the voice in the room to kind of represent this because it's something that I've been hearing a lot. The 20-year waivers of property taxes, the waiver of city fees and reimbursement of others, sales tax exemptions for multimillionaire developers. And now we're talking about cutting pay to our employees and cutting the $250,000 fund that the new fire chief is absolutely going to need. And I just want to represent that because like this is something that I hear a lot. People are upset about their property taxes and we have every right to be upset about our property taxes, but they're also upset about being made to feel like they are holding the burden. The massive burden of all of this is coming from our property taxes when we see other people getting pass after pass after pass. I just want to, be a voice in the room representing that because I think a lot of people feel that way.
Thank you for sharing that. In terms of how the city's looking at incentives in the future, we have a workshop in September to talk about how we're doing incentives. I've been under the mind the past couple of years that we should be in a phase down approach as much as possible. So instead of offering 100% abatement, let's say you got 100% abatement for 2 years, you decrease 50% and you get things back on the tax rolls quicker.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
So you're still helping some of this investment because it is increasing the total property tax valuation, let's say over the course of 20 years. But how do we get that result quicker at the front end while also helping phase in? As a business owner as well, I don't want to go from having 100% waiver to having a 0% waiver and then have that added cost to my performer right at the start. I prefer to have it phased in and be able to accumulate that in the budget as we go on. So that's something
I think that makes a lot more sense, honestly. It really does because it's a perception, It's the perception.
I agree with you. Well, I'll go to Alan and then I'll go to you, Wally. So
I'm following her on all that stuff, but some of the spending that we do, we need to take a closer look at. A couple examples. A year or two ago, we loaned the Orpheum Theater, $1.5 million for renovation?
Not necessarily. We can answer, that was the CID, so they get the revenue from their sales as a portion of that.
And we loaned the drive-in movie theater guy $300,000.
That one is correct.
We're not a bank. If they want to do upgrades, let them go and get a commercial loan like everybody else does. Secondly, and you and I have talked about this in the past, in 2019, when they voted for that CIP art money, it's my recommendation that you push that forward and get that repealed. We don't need any more $2 million art at the water treatment plant. And we don't need any more $600,000 toilets. That money can be better used. And my recommendation with that CIP money is our fire stations need a lot of help. And that $1.2 million could go a long way toward fixing up some of these fire stations.
That's right. Stephanie didn't hop in and say.
That's just my opinion. Okay.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
But I hope that you can see my point as far as that goes.
No, of course.
Obviously, I agree with him.
You did tell me that you're only one vote, so I don't know, but we gotta get it started somehow. We gotta get this ball rolling down there.
There's a good example in terms of the budget. The chief of police, I don't say the chief, police department as a whole, allocated $650,000 in the CIP toward police robot dog. And I think we're probably fine with one right now. And so that's something that we're looking at in terms of how do we spend more efficiently. Is it needed? Maybe at some point, perhaps, but let's see how often we use one before we purchase another as well. So that's an example of something in the budget. And if anybody's bored, they want to help find those as well and find efficiencies, that's a good example of how can we spend that money more efficiently. on a way that maybe taxpayers would want.
Yeah, we have nothing in the budget to repair these fire stations that are in need of help. When we could take that CIP ARD money and put that toward these fire stations.
Stephanie, myself, and the IAF president, the fire union president, are meeting next week to go over the CIP and the budget to make sure that enough money is being spent on all of our facilities as well.
I can't believe that it's never been in there.
Well,
What kind of analysis of the benefits to the city and the people of this $1.1 billion that the city has helped these developers in the last 10 years? I mean, we put this money out, what benefits do the people of Wichita receive from this?
I know there is analysis the mayor's requested, and so I don't have those hard numbers right now, but it's being worked on right now. Some projects have been very successful in terms of return on investment, and some haven't. In terms of the 1.1, what is the final return? I can't answer that right now, but I know that that's our auditor is working on that currently.
Yeah, there's a lot of it, you know, like Lang. I've known Jeff Lang for many years. He's has one of the smallest farms in Sumner County. I think it's more federal aid than any farm in Kansas.
So I'll have a better answer to you on that in the future.
And he keeps asking for all these abatements to expand it. He's got plenty of money to expand. He doesn't need us to put up money for his expansion.
Last question I have, and I know we're over what I said, 20 minutes. Last question. And again, I would love to host this with your neighbors and your community members if that's something you want to do. And what are opportunities that the city of Wichita, the whole city, not looking at the institution, what are opportunities the city has in the next 20, 30 years? What do you want to see Wichita look like in 20 to 30 years that we should be preparing for now?
One thing I'd like to see the major boulevards maintained. I mean, you go down 119th Street and it's nice there. Then you go there, weeds are 3 feet high along the side of the street. Fences are falling down. I just think it leaves a bad impression to people in the city. Drive down a major boulevard, look at a wooden fence falling down, look at weeds 3 feet high on one side of the street and perfectly mowed on the other side of the street. There should be a standard. These people that back up to these boulevards should be required to maintain them like it was the front of their house.
I'd like to see more diversified employment. Okay. The 70s and 80s when I came here, when we had the Pizza Hut Corporation and the Colemans and the Corinth Cokes and all these others. And now we're so sucked in on this aircraft stuff. And when it goes in the toilet, it takes the whole city with us. You know, it takes us all down. And I just feel like we need to go after some of these companies and diversify like we used to be. I think that's a big plus for everybody.
So I think
Go ahead.
with some of those things, you know, our city, our transit system needs to be upgraded. You know, those kind of things bring other businesses in, I believe. And sometimes I guess those businesses are baited with the money that we're complaining about. You know, the breaks that they get sometimes bring them in. So it's kind of it's a catch-22 situation. I don't know what the answer is.
It's a big opportunity for Wichita in the next 30 years on zoning reform. I think that we're going to have a huge miss if we as a city don't come to learn about, understand, and be proponents of greater density in the zoning that we allow specifically for our residential. And I know that not everybody's a fan of that, but that's how we meaningfully grow our tax base. That's how we decrease property tax burden on all of our citizens. And we have density in housing that exists in our community right now that we probably don't even know about and are totally fine with. But we have these maybe we need to set parameters about what we want our twin homes to look like and how we want density to grow. But I think that's a real opportunity for Wichita.
I'll hear from you.
I would like to actually hear talking about coming to Wichita and feeling safe. I have a lot of family who doesn't live in Wichita, and we're talking about where we want to do holidays, where we would like to spend time. Normally, it's not, oh, I want to go to Wichita. I'd rather go here. Normally, when people think of Wichita, they don't think of a safe area to be in all the time. I think that in the future, when I'm an adult, I would like to hear people wanting to come to Wichita because they feel like it's a safer place to be, like smaller towns. So.
Successful downtown movement finally rolled out. I think we've seen numerous revisions, wonderful like pictures of what it could be, and it just never happened. So I'd like to see a big improvement there.
I think that the country as a whole is looking at some of the innovation that we're doing right now. WSU Tech, Dr. Utash is all over the world talking about the changes in higher education, the innovation campus, the biomed corridor that we're creating. I think there's a really, really cool opportunity, but we got to keep the foot on the gas.
I'm incredibly excited about what's happening with biomed and also movement music, a combination between music and medicine, the downtown core. Having 3,000 students downtown starting next summer is going to be a huge move. Having movement music invest their first investment is $800 million into downtown Wichita. That's all private money. It's going to be transformation downtown.
Yeah, how about some eating places down there for these people and some retail development downtown for these people? Everybody's screaming about no data centers and all this thing here. Well, there's a need for data centers. We gotta have them. My feelings are we should try to promote a data center that doesn't use all our water and uses solar power. I mean, we have the capability to develop it. It's gonna be a growing market. Instead of fighting it, let's find a way to make it work without depleting all our resources.
Right now, it is 7 o'clock and the county is still meeting regarding solar applications. So that's going to have to be a larger community conversation we have too.
Yeah.
Especially the investment.
It's a real opportunity with our location in the country we could be the next Silicon Valley of AI and data centers. And it would be a huge miss if we didn't take advantage of that.
Yeah, I know one of the projects today that just for Central County, if one of the solar projects were approved, when Gentry talked about other revenue streams, one of those projects would have brought in between $19 and $33 million additional tax revenue.
There's a data center being proposed in Emporia right now that would cut their property taxes in half with the property tax revenue generated from that.
There's one in Barber County that will eliminate property taxes.
They're estimating
which is a really good reason not to give them giveaways and passes.
Right. And yeah, the data centers, I think in the state, they don't have the property tax exemption that a lot of the renewable projects have. They have a sales tax exemption on equipment at the state level that the state's given them. But in terms of property tax dollars, they have no property tax exemption that a lot of the renewable projects have.
But there's a lot, like they do in Arizona on the school grounds and parking lots. They put the solar over there. So when Dylan's store down in Phoenix, the whole parking lot is covered. They generate enough electricity to do 148 houses. And plus, when you go to park, you park in the shade instead of 120-degree sun. I mean, there's a lot of parking lots around Wichita that could be used as solar, where you could still park underneath it and then use the shade. It serves a double purpose.
Josh talked about the executive director of the library being very innovative. I don't have an update on it, but last year she was looking at recouping the entire energy investment for libraries by putting some things on the libraries. I don't know how far that went. foundations, looking at covering the initial upfront cost. But I thought that was a great initiative that the libraries were looking at. How can you completely eliminate the energy costs for libraries in most municipal buildings in the city? Okay. At the end, I'll answer any questions about the city in general because I have a list of maybe some updates, but I also know we have a couple zoning cases and I went over the 20 minutes. Thank you for this conversation. This is really helpful for me when I review the budget and what the priorities are for the budget and how can we make sure our decisions reflect the community. So thank you for this. Feel free to reach out anytime about it. And again, I'll answer questions at the end, but we can go to the zoning cases real fast.
Councilmember. We'll get started with zoning case 2026-0028.
About this case, so 2026-28 and CP 2026-23 is a request for two items. One is to amend the Ridge Plaza Community Unit Plan, DP, to modify boundaries of existing parcels, to also reduce the west and north setbacks for one of those proposed parcels. I would also change the zoning for a portion of that lot from LC Limited Commercial to OW Office Warehouse District. The subject site is 0.22 acres in size, located on West University Avenue, and is currently undeveloped. Applicant proposes a warehouse self-service storage unit for the property. In the staff report, you can see that some of those proposed changes from the existing parcels to the new parcels. Should the zone change request and the CUP amendment be approved, all of these parcels would have the same maximum building coverage ratio, maximum floor area ratio, and maximum building height. As mentioned, the request would also reduce the west and north setbacks for proposed parcel 29A, which is located at the northwest corner of this property. The west setback would be reduced from 35 feet to 20 feet, and the north setback would be reduced from 35 feet to 15 feet. If this property were not in the CP, the front setback setback standards, given the proximity of residential zoning. That would require a minimum of a 15-foot setback plus 1 foot for each 5 feet of lot. The purpose of those setback reductions is to provide sufficient internal circulation space between multiple buildings. As seen on the site plan, all of the building entrances would face inward to the site, and the rear of the building would be along the exterior of the site. CUP does require a landscape buffer, which is shown in the drawing along the west and north property lines, and that would be 10 feet in width. Landscape plan is required to be reviewed and approved by the planning department prior to being issued. This neighborhood is mixed use, properties to the north, zoned SF5, developed with an elementary school. Property to the south is zoned OW Office Warehouse and is within the CP and is undeveloped. Property to the east is zoned LC within the CP and is used for office uses. Properties to the west are zoned TF3 two-family residential, are within the CP and developed with duplexes. As far as the site is concerned, the unit plan 37 was approved or was created on March 1970. The site was platted in 1973, and in 2022, the City Council granted a zone change request from LC Limited Commercial to OW Office Warehouse for the western site. As far as public services are concerned, public water and sewer are nearby and be extended to several developments. The site does have access to West University Avenue and South Holland Lane, which are both two-lane paved streets with no sidewalks. Wichita Transit does serve the site within 1.5 miles to the east. Requested zone change in CP amendment are in accordance with the adopted comprehensive plan that finds the site as appropriate for development. The locational guidelines of that plan provided decision-making framework regarding land use changes. And one of those guidelines states that major commercial and employment centers should be located at intersections of arterial streets and along highways and commercial corridors. With the exception of the school and duplex development, West University Avenue is a commercial corridor with LC and GC commercial zoning. Another one of those locational guidelines is that industrial and major commercial land uses that generate pollution, odor, noise, light, safety hazards, and high levels of traffic be located away from residential areas and develop with screening, buffering, and site design features sufficient to mitigate adverse impacts. The CUP provisions would require a landscape buffer along the northwest and north property lines, which should mitigate against these impacts. The office warehouse district is primarily intended to accommodate office and warehousing activities. This is compatible with the employment industry center designation of the comprehensive plan and the new employment area. As mentioned, the subject site is located on a wide local street and is less visible from major traffic along South Ridge Road. If we could look at the site photos quick. Here you can see the proposed site with the wide local University Avenue and the undeveloped sites around it. There is no residential development immediately adjacent to the proposed use. With that said, based on the eight golden factors in the staff report, staff is recommending approval of this request.
Philip, are you the only agent in town? I only see you.
Yes, sir, I'm not.
All right, good. Any questions from the board? Feedback? You guys have you guys got any feedback from the public, neighbors?
At this time, there hasn't been any public comment.
Public feedback? See that they're not, I'd like to make a motion to approve based response. Submissions. And then we got a second from Wally. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. And we can go on to zone 6-26.
-00026 is a request from SM5 Single Family Residential to University District. Property 0.34 acres in size. These are located on the south side of West Mentor Avenue, east side of South Peru Avenue. One of the parcels is undeveloped and the other is developed with a 8-car garage. Both of these parcels had single family dwellings within the last couple decades. The University District zoning would allow construction of student housing on site. This district is primarily intended to accommodate development for universities, colleges, seminaries, other institutions of higher education. Can be applied to residential properties adjacent to the district. On the Plan Commission and governing body have determined that the area is a logical and desirable location for student housing. This particular site is already surrounded by the U district on all sides. As you can see in the staff report, development standards of the property would change with the University District zoning. The property would also still have to comply with the Delano neighborhood design guidelines, as well as screening and landscaping requirements on the affected code. This area is primarily residential. To the north, zoned SF5. Developed single family houses and a vacant lot. Facing south are zoned university and are developed with single family houses. To the east is zoned university has developed student housing. West is zoned university developed with university. All surrounding properties are also located in Delano overlay. Property was platted as part of the University Place Fish 1986. And in 2003, the subject site was added to the Delano. The site does have access to West Mentor Street, South Hardham Avenue, which are two-way local streets, both with sidewalks. The site does have access to all public utilities, including sewer, stormwater, and water, which Wichita Transit stops 1 block south of the subject site. The request is in conformance with the Community Investments Plan, which identifies the site as appropriate for residential uses. This being a zone change for student housing that would be appropriate for this district. The locational guidelines provide an additional framework for decision-making regarding land use changes, accessory dwelling units, duplexes, small-scale multifamily developments, to be appropriate in existing residential areas, if appropriate site development design limits, adverse impacts on surrounding residential uses, the design of buildings is compatible with existing residences, scale of development is compatible with the intensity of this surrounding area. The site is immediately adjacent to both single-family and small-scale multifamily housing, which provides context for a range of housing density for the subject site. The requested zone change is also in conformance with the Wichita Places for People plan. The plan outlines a list of strategies to promote walkability in the established central area. Strategies 5 and 6 aim to provide a diversity of housing options to attract new residents and allow existing residents to remain within the established central area. We'll also encourage infill and redevelopment as protection to the environment, which is encouraged. The zone change would bring infill development to vacant lots and a diversity of single family and multifamily housing in the area. The zone change is in partial conformance with the Delano neighborhood plan, which identifies the site as appropriate for residential uses. While this particular district generally corresponds to the major institutional land use designation of the comprehensive plan, the requested development on site is residential in nature. The design of the student housing would be in conformance with the neighborhood design guidelines, which aim to respect the character of one of Wichita's earliest commercial residential districts. Lastly, the U University District is to county development for universities, colleges, institutions of higher learning, based on proposed use of student housing for the site that would align with the goals of the unified zoning. Based on the goals and factors staff report, staff is recommending approval of this zone change as well. At this time, there have not been any public comments on this case either.
I think that the Delano neighborhood plan was mentioned. Did you get any feedback from Vincent?
I haven't heard it. This isn't my case, but I have not.
Okay. Heard it. I'm surprised it's not here. Anything you left out, Philip, that we should know about? I see any. I think it's wonderful that the university is seeking to grow their footprint, so I don't see any issues. Any comments or feedback from the board?
No, the only question, so I'm not used to looking at these, so the only question I have is what is their intent? How big of a building? Is it going to be so many floors? Did I miss that?
As part of the zone change process, they're not required to provide a site plan or building design. I would have to refer to for any more specifics.
I If you go back to this, it's going to be very similar. It's going to be more modern. That was older, but it's going to be very similar or blend in right there. Yeah. Okay. There you go. So that is student housing east of the green line. And there are going to be more student housing on this area. So that whole block, student housing, is going to be similar shape. More modern.
Okay, so I know my east right here, right? Okay. I can go right to left. So, okay.
Any questions from the board? Public? All right, so if there are none, I'd like to make a motion to approve based upon the conditions.
Second.
Second, Wally, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass it back over to Councilman Glasscock for the updates, issues, and reports.
I was, I'll say it now that passed, when President Carey showed me plans for that, I was super upset because I wanted to buy that parcel of land and build there. and that's a much better use for the neighborhood. I live 2 streets away from that off of Mentor, so this is like a 2-minute walk from my house. And I love that parcel. Students over there will get a much larger benefit. The design that she showed me looked really sharp in the neighborhood as well. Couple things, neighborhood night out, next Tuesday, there's 7 in District 4. If you have one that was not submitted, excuse me, if you have one that was not submitted with the city, please let me know. I'll try to supply. Right now, I can go to every neighborhood night out for 30 minutes. So it'll be tough for me to fit you in, but I will try to make it possible. Our August 12th, next Tuesday, right, is the opening of the Osage Fitness Park, which is really cool. If you haven't driven by, maybe drive by on your way home. It's on 31st Street at Osage, and it's a replica of the Pat Garcia Park, sponsored by Blue Cross Blue Shield, but it's an outdoor fitness center. And so a majority of it was donated through philanthropic efforts from Blue Cross Blue Shield. And it's really cool. Joseph, Councilmember Shepherd, and I are doing an athletic competition on Wednesday to kick it off. So I'm going to go out this weekend to make sure I don't get my butt kicked. It's out at the fitness center. Station 23, I got an update from the manager right before I came to this, that the opening of the facility will be the week of August 17th. I think the date we're tentatively looking at right now is August 20th. The next day is Chief Tammy Snow's last day on the job, and the new fire chief starts on the 24th. And so this will kind of be one of the last things that she will do. So the 20th is the tentative date. We're just trying to figure out the time for the opening of the new fire station at Pontiac Bays, which will be, again, the first fire station since 2008. We're expecting a 12-month lead time, which probably means an 18th-month lead time. So I would imagine that we'll open that at the start of 2028. Budget, again, number one thing that we're talking about, common consumption was renewed. There was no uptick of any incidences. Actually, there was a decrease in police calls in the common consumption area in Delano. It's very successful, and actually, I think it's more people are walking around, more engaging. There's less crime when you have more people walk around. So it's been really successful. If you haven't been out there, it's a really cool thing, and the baseball stadium's really taken hold of it. In addition to that, as part of the baseball master plan, master plan around the baseball stadium, we broke ground on the new hotel. They had until July 31st to break ground. We broke ground on July 31st. And so that will be a 160-room hotel. It's a Marriott tribute hotel. It'll be one of the nicest Marriotts in the area. It'll have a rooftop bar. So you're talking about amenities downtown, and the first floor is retail. The schematics of it look really good. What's also positive is this project has to be successful, because the way that this star bond was done back in 2019, which is different than any star bond since, is that if revenues were not made, it's to be backed by general tax fund dollars. Well, to make sure that general tax fund dollars or property tax dollars don't supplement the project, the sales tax from proceeds in there will go to pay off the debt for the star bond. So we want the district to be successful, because then the general fund doesn't have to pay for it. It's paid for from users of the system. So it's a really cool design. I would highly recommend looking at the schematics, and then also along the riverfront that is being redone too. And then finally, you can look at this later if you want, but the city is exploring water reuse and what that looks like for the city. I think it'd be one of the most transformational things that we could move forward with on my time on the bench. Right now, the city where water supply goes through the wastewater treatment facility and gets pumped back into the Arkansas River. By the time it goes to New Orleans, it's 12 times. So this isn't a new concept. It's treating our water, and it's treating our water and treating our water to then go back in the water supply. So we're not just pushing it down and other people benefit from it. So this is a long-term plan. KDHE is currently, because of regulations that the city council proposed, KDHE has to come up with regulations within the next 2 years about how water reuse can take place in our community. We use gray water at some of our facilities right now, but this would be full water reuse. We'd be the first city in the state of Kansas to do it. Other municipalities across the country have also done it. In Texas, most predominantly, it's in California, but it's not a new concept. It'd be new to Wichita. So I will not have all your answers to it today. but there'll be plenty of conversations. I think Gary Jansen is going to come in this fall and talk about it. We're also going to be establishing a test treatment facility where people can go in and see this in real time. They can drink the water that's been treated in the facility. And we're looking at a mobile unit as well to go show people how this water can be treated and retreated. So that's just a long-term plan for the city, but it would be, especially in Kansas, you've probably seen tons of renderings that Kansas is quickly losing our water supply, especially Western Kansas. And if we don't address this need, then we're going to be in trouble in the future too. So I think that's a really positive step. There's a lot of conversation that has to happen before. More questions?
When's our water treatment facility going to open?
Okay, update that I got at the last workshop is they're testing the clarifiers right now. The clarifiers they have tested after they made the repairs have all been successful. So the plan is this fall, we will take control over it pending anything else happening. And then we would take control over a few months before we fully move operations over there. So not operations over there till next spring. Right now, they're being good faith partners and paying for the repairs themselves. I hope that continues. If it doesn't continue, I think we're owed every dollar as part of that process. But right now, they're making the repairs at the cost of business. The city is not fronting those costs. There'll be questions about duplication of staff that we'll have to answer, and maybe some resources. But currently, it is not cost more money.
Is that why we waived the late fee? Wasn't there like a $5 million late fee? Did we waive that because they're paying for the repairs?
The article was not fully accurate, maybe not surprisingly with the Michelle Eagles sometimes. It moved to a different part of the contract. And so the other part of the contract, the waiver of the late fees is what they said. We had to prove certain stipulations with this. Well, right now they're still paying as part of the agreement. So just move to a different clause in the contract. We'll fail to mention that as part.
Okay.
We're actually currently coming out ahead because there's a cap on what the late fees would have been, which I think is at 5 million. The costs are likely going to be higher than 5 million, and now we're not capped on what that cost is. I can't speak a lot to it because of the rest of the executive session, but I think I can say that. Anything else?
This is really encouraging.
It is.
I don't remember the exact numbers, but almost 100% of all the water that people drink in Las Vegas is recycled and reused. And from the early 90s and now, they've cut their water use in like a quarter of what they were using before. There's no other way forward.
They have to, because
Yeah, it's
Lake
gotta
Mead
change.
is basically, it's almost a Deadpool, isn't
Yeah.
it? Like Deadpool level.
Yeah.
I think this will be the most transformational thing that can happen for generations. We can do this well.
I think if you can get past the stigma of people being grossed out
Yes.
with the reuse word, because I have to say as a germaphobe, it grosses me out just because the reuse word.
That's going to be the conversation we have to have, where people don't have that mentality, because you are still tasting or drinking treatment almost in any municipality you go to in some capacity.
I'd seen the comment when it first came out, someone was like, I better see Lily Wu be the first person to take a drink of that.
Well, that's we're going to have testers and sites that people can test the treated water. So
It is very inspiring. Are there any questions from the board? Any from the public?
oh, I also just want to introduce Jim. Jim comes to a lot of the meetings. Jim's my appointee to the Wichita Central County Access Advisory. So thanks for being here.
See you again, Jim. All right, seeing that there's nothing else, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn our August meeting.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, you guys have a good night.
Thanks, Teresa.
It's so nice to meet you.
Good seeing you, sir. How are you? Doing well.
Yeah, once we get
This is
to
your
real
first meeting back, right?
conversations, you'll want mine.
Real